Mary. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone that's put in the chat. Apologies, I didn't follow the rules. I'm a bit of a rebel. Everybody, it's in the Q&A in future. But it's really nice to be able to see what you're all up to. And well done, swimming a K and all these great things that's been achieved. So I have to say, thankfully, it has been a grey, cloudy day in Dumfries and Galloway. So I've achieved an awful lot more. I've got my year end done, which was rather depressing with COVID. And I've got loads of reports done, and I've managed to answer some emails that have been stacking up for a wee while. So the fact that it wasn't sunny has really helped me. So thank you all for sharing your days. And I think what we'll do is, if I can see, share screen. See if we can get this going. And we'll start the evening. Right, are we good to go? We're on. Be brave, push your boundaries, use Zoom, they said. What could go wrong, they said. We've already had a bit of a computer blip, so we're on computer 2. So tonight is going to be really relaxed, really informal. I know one or two of you will know me. And I'm really delighted to have you all join us. And hopefully there'll be something for you to get out of it. But we'll have a good blather and a good chat. And hopefully it'll make you feel good about yourselves by the end of it and motivated and ready to push your boundaries. So who am I? Most of you kind of know this image. This is my sort of pseudonym, if you like, Heather, Saviour ass, kicking ass, savouring of the industry and really going to take on the world. And I guess in life, we all sort of have this idea of we only post the really good stuff in Facebook and social media, and everyone looks like you've got your shit together and it's all going really well. But I think if we're really, really honest, and I hate to blow away the smoke and mirrors, but, you know, I think most of us are paddling like crazy underneath and trying to juggle too much. And sort of thinking, what the heck is going on? And I know I've got two lovely teenage daughters. They're 19 and they're 18. And, you know, they're going through the things of career, colleges, university, don't know what they want to do. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, you know, I don't know about any of you out there. I'm really envious of people who have just had this burning ambition. I know I'm going to be a farmer. I know I'm going to be an accountant. I know I'm going to be, you know, school teacher, whatever. I've never really known exactly what Heather was going to be. And still to this day, I surprise myself sometimes with what I come out with and what I do. And I think it's actually all right as well. Not to have full control over everything and to be open to ideas, because whoever would have thought that, you know, we'd be locked down for 18 months, we'd be wearing masks in a shop and in a street, we wouldn't be allowed to go and see our friends, and that, you know, we can't hug. And anyone that knows me, I think some of my farming clients are really delighted because they sort of go, oh, God, she's coming. Because, you know, I'm there with a big hug. And, you know, the Highland Show, my God, I'm going to miss that. You know, for me, the Highland Show was just all about kissing and cuddling and catching up and having a really good chat and networking and motivating. And so who would have thought we are where we are? So I think the life is always about these surprises and ups and downs. And I've been really, really lucky all my career. I've had some great jobs. I left school at 15, didn't go to college, didn't go to university. And I actually had a pretty good career in Alfa Laval, De Laval, in sales and marketing. And then I worked my way through, worked in First Milk as an area manager. And then I was in Dairyco, which is now AHDB. In dairy, and I covered all of Scotland and had a great time in all of my careers. I always used to feel a bit of a square peg in a round hole, and I'm quite straight talking, and if I don't know something, I will ask. And I didn't realise how some people find this quite threatening, because I need to know the bigger picture. I need to know the where, the why, the how. And as soon as I've got all of that and I've got it in my head, I can get on and I can, you know, defend anything a company organisation's doing, as long as I believe it and I understand it and I get it. And I started to feel really, really frustrated, because the more I was working in these organisations, I felt I was asking more and more questions and getting a bit disappointed as you go up the tree with some of the people that were doing jobs or telling me what I couldn't do. And I started to doubt and question, and that if I don't respect who I'm working for or my employees, I'm possibly a bit of a challenge. And it wasn't really a happy place to be in. And I started thinking, what can I do? And in 2010, I was really lucky to go on the Scottish Enterprise Rural Leadership Programme. And it's the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And one of the things that really appealed to me was the personal coaching. And I know, and I met some great people on my year. Some of them hated the pikey session, the Davy Pike, but I couldn't wait to have my one-to-ones, because I was hoping he was going to go, oh, there you go, Heather, your problem is this, and we're going to fix you. And I was really looking forward to it, and I got a bit stressed getting to it, but I was a bit gutted, because at the end of it, when he came out of it, it wasn't anybody else. It wasn't something that was wrong. It was actually me, which a lot of people could have said, oh, well, Heather, I suppose we could have told you that ages ago. But it was quite an eye-opener that it wasn't, the problem, there was the work or the colleagues or the issues with clients, whatever. It was my approach and my attitude to it. And that really, really helped. And I started really looking at how I engaged with people, and how if I worded things differently, asked things differently, approached things differently, the outcome, funny enough, was different. And it was in 2012, I was starting to get really, really frustrated again. I'd moved to Dairy Co, and I really enjoyed my job, and I was doing a lot of discussion groups. And we'd have loads of farmer meetings with some brilliant speakers. And I thought we'd go, we're really motivated and G'd up, which hopefully you will be tonight. And then I'd see them a couple of months later, and I'd say, so go on then, what have you done? And they're like, oh, well, Heather, actually, I think we maybe need that speaker in again, because I never got round to it, and life kind of gets in the way, which got me questioning more and more, how do you influence and motivate change? How is it that some people with, say, Weight Watchers, Alcoholics Anonymous, quite close to my heart, and or grass or nutrition or health or whatever it is, some people completely get it, transform their lives, and other people just never get over the starting line. They're always put off. So in 2012, I applied for a Nuffield Farming Scholarship, which I must admit, I didn't think it was my cup of tea. I'd always thought it was a bit for the entitled, quite well-to-do, a bit snooty, and it certainly wasn't for Cumbrians, down-to-earth, never been to college or anything for me. And my word, did I have to change my thoughts about it and my beliefs, because Nuffield has been an amazing opportunity for me, and I can't rate it highly enough. I did a topic on influence and motivating change, and I went to Chile, Peru, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Ireland, America, Tasmania. Where else did I go? It was pretty good. I did over 11 weeks of travelling, and that was pretty hard. It was difficult for the family at home. My children were quite young, husband, and I had to plan it around school holidays so that the girls could be family members all over, so that my mum and dad and people didn't have to come up to Ayrshire, where we were living at the time. And it was funny, it actually gave the children a great opportunity to go away and to travel and to see different things. But they really enjoyed when we had visitors come back and stay with us as well. And Nuffield, it's funny, when the jobs I had travelling, working with farmers, you can get a bit embroiled in that, oh, well, it's the way it is, it's I've been that way, or the weather, there's always a reason, it's the milk price, it's the politicians, it's, we're not getting it. And it's quite negative, a lot of our agriculture and our industry. And this is one thing that really blew me away in all the farms I went to. And I was travelling in a lot of drought in 2012. And it made me realise how blooming lucky we are in Scotland to have rain for the grass to grow. And actually, we should be grateful for what we've got. And this was something that I really resonated, and I love Muhammad Ali, but when you truly believe in what you're doing, it shows and it pays. Winners in life are those who are excited about where they're going and what they're doing. And, I'm asking you, are you excited about your life, what you're doing, where you are, the people around you? And it was lovely in the chat. There was a lot of, gratefulness and appreciation and some good places. But I think COVID, in a way, has made us really stop and think about what we've got and what we haven't got. But in agriculture, I think this is something we really need to work on. And when I came back, I was all buzzed up with, and this was going to take over the world. And I decided the 3 common goals that all came back from enough field about businesses that influenced and motivated change, businesses that had overcome adversity, challenge, financial, health, droughts, all these things, and how they got people and taken them with them. Everyone, all the way through, regardless whether they were crofters, ranchers, computer programmers, governors, prison wardens. I had a real broad mix of people. Every one of those people I spoke to, they had a vision. They had a vision, they had a dream, they had goals, and they had ambitions. And a lot of people, when I speak to them, and I say, "We got vision or dream," they say, yeah. I say, "Well, but is it written down?" And, "Oh, no, it's not written down." But a vision or a dream or a goal that is not written down is just a fantasy. But in Harvard, a vision or a dream or a goal that are written down are 80% more likely to come true. 80% are pretty good odds. Everyone that works that really achieved these goals and smashed it, they had them written down, and they had them written down clear so they could see them. And they also had them written down in the appropriate way that affected all the staff and local people in the business. Because I don't know about you, anyone I've worked with, it's not what you know, it's who you know. A lot of the best jobs are never advertised. A lot of the best land and work joint offers and things are never advertised. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But if people don't know what you are wanting to do and achieve, how are these doors going to open? So it's really, really clear that when you have a visionary dream goal, you are verbalizing it, you have it written down so everybody knows. And then collaboration. I have never done anything successfully on my own. And it's actually not a lot of fun. Whereas if you have a really good team around you, it's amazing how your luck just keeps getting luckier, how doors keep opening, and you get success, and it grows and it grows. So think about, in your world, where are you? Where do you want to be? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? Who do you need to communicate it to, and what do you need to communicate? Do you need a business plan? Some of you just said you got some planning permission in for some new diversification. Who do you need to write it? Is it just a goal on the fridge? Stay away from the cake. Is it get off your backside and go for a walk? Is it, I'm going to buy that house, get the savings, I'm going to leave the business, I'm going to, whatever it might be, get those written down because they're 80% more true. And then think, who do you need around you to make those happen? Is it people, your friendship, if you've got negative naysayers and everything, have you got advisors? Walk in the pack that is talking the language that you want to be. So when I came back, I was all absolutely buzzed up. I thought this was great, and I had all these ideas, and I thought, right, this is fantastic. There was all this information in my head, and I thought, God, people are asking me all these things about dairy and everything when I was out there. I thought, my God, I'm pretty well connected. If I don't know where everything is, how do other people? So I thought, what a great idea. We'll start a dairy hub. We'll start a Scottish Dairy Growth Hub, and it'll be a one-stop shop for information. We'll segment the industry and then think, what does each of these people need? So it was like board, directors, owners, managers, staff, and then maybe young farmers and things. What do each of these people need? And who are all the service providers that provide all this information? So it was going to be like a great information directory and everything to try and open the door, because I know if you want to get grant funding, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it can be really difficult if you're starting on a blank page. But if you suddenly knew Joe Smith is really good at doing diversification grants and applications, everything's made easier. So this was grand. I came back with this idea, and it was at the Highland Show in 2013, I think it was. I went to Scottish Government, and they said, Heather, we love this idea. This is great. We're going to give you 50% funding, but you need to get the rest of the funding. And I was like, oh, right, okay. So I started looking elsewhere, and a lot of organisations said, yeah, we like the idea, Heather, that's great, but you're going to have to get the rest. We're not sure. We need to see it up and running beforehand. So I came back to Dairy Co, and they said, do you know what? We love the idea. We think Scotland's got an awful lot going for it. We could back this. And I thought, right, that's absolutely brilliant. Job's a good one. And then they said, oh, by the way, because it's public money, we'll have to go through procurement. So you'll have to apply for the position. And I was starting to struggle a little bit with Dairyco. I could feel there were some challenges. I knew I was ready for change. And I really thought this was going to be my platform to be up and off. And I thought, right, no, fair enough. If I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be doing the job. So I applied for it, and I had to go for the interview, and it was like being interviewed by the Beatles. There was John, Paul and George. There was just Ringo not there. And I thought it went pretty well. And when I came out the car park, because, it was my baby, it was my dream, my ideas, I came out the car park and I saw Stuart, and I was like, actually, Stuart could be quite good at this. Oh, and then I got the phone call that I hadn't got it. Unfortunately, you've been unsuccessful. And I have to say, it was a massive, massive blow. It was a massive blow to my ego, to my pride, because any of you know me, I'm quite gobby. It was all out there, the Scottish Dairy Hub and what I was going to be doing. And I'd handed my notice in at Dairyco because I was so confident. And I was devastated. And someone that is always big, bold and brash. And personally, I've gone through quite a lot. In 2000, we lost our first daughter. And, we've had succession, we've had to leave farms, we've had a whole heap of different things happen. And you sort of think you're over it, you're building your way up, and this was the step. But I have to say, this absolutely crushed me. And I don't know whether I'd been putting things off, but it was difficult for the children to see mum crying and upset. I buried my head. I didn't want to speak to people. And it's funny as well, people that don't want to speak to you, people don't want to be associated with failure. And we definitely found that when we lost our daughter. But I didn't think this would happen. But also, I guess it was also quite a humbling thing for the children to realise that mum isn't this machine. She is real. She does hurt. Because I guess I've always been, come on, man up, get over it. And I really couldn't with this one. I was pretty dented, and I just couldn't see what I was going to do. And loads of people kept saying, "Oh, for God's sake, Heather, start your own business, do something." And I was in a pretty low way, and it was funny enough. It was probably about a month into it, and I'd wallowed a bit. And when the email came that I hadn't got the job, I'm a bit like a Teddy. I had to have the last word. So the first thing I did was go on social media everywhere and just say how delighted I was that Stuart had got the job, and like to wish him all the very best, because it's a fantastic opportunity, fantastic business, and look forward to seeing it grow, and watch this space to see where the Saviour goes next. And I just died. And it was a really random phone call. It was a colleague. I can't even say it was a friend. It's someone I didn't know that well. Had said, Heather, there's a few of us been talking, and we're a bit worried about you, and we're worried. And he says, I'm going to ring you back in 2 weeks, Heather. And he said, I want you to think about 5 things you're going to achieve in 5 years. And I was like, oh, nothing, I'll be dead, I'll be working at Tesco's. And because I had no qualifications, nothing like that. And I was just in a right mump and in a pretty sad state with myself. And I thought, well, then got to show the kids a good example. So I thought, what do I really, really want? And I started thinking about this, and I love traveling. So I thought, I want a job that entails international travel. I want a personal trainer. I talked about this magical half stone. I was fed up with carrying this weight because I have no willpower. And I thought, right, I'm going to have a personal trainer. I'm going to get the weight off. And I really want a job that fulfills me. I want to own a second property. And I want to be recognised as a specialist in my field. And at this point, I didn't know what my field was. I wanted a work-life balance that incorporated family, work, and me, because I realised when I'd stopped what a bloody incredible beast I'd been of activity and busyness, and that actually the people around me, when it all fell to pieces, were my family, and I did not want to take those for granted again. What was really, really key for me in my aims, when I really come down to it, is I wanted to develop and bring people on. That was something that was really core to my heart, to my values. And I put on there joking, I wanted to have a camper van when I'm 50. And, and these were some of the things I was going to do. I was going to sort my finances out. I was going to save. I was going to save for New York at 50. I mean, COVID, look at that. I was going to have some structure around the girls with fitness friends, revising and learning, because I really wanted to know what made Heather happy. And it was a really a great experience, to be honest. And sometimes we don't know how strong we are until we're on our back and we're trapped, and it doesn't look like we've got any options. And this was a sign that I saw somewhere, and I thought, God, it is really true. You have to have the courage. You have to have the purpose. And I think being a mum also brought a bit that out. But then I also think I really wanted to be a role model. And I thought, well, you've got to walk the walk, Heather, and you've got to talk the talk. So if you're going to crumble at the first sign, what does that say about you? So I looked at my role models, and I looked at how they behaved, what they did, how they travelled, and how they, carried themselves and things. I became accountable to myself. I was not going to be at the mercy of anyone else. I'd really had my confidence dented, and I'd had my trust dented massively. I needed a purpose, and I needed pride, and I really needed the courage to get going and to do it. And there was a lot of good people behind me that really helped me. Mind you, there was someone that said, well, what are you going to do? You can't do that. I'll give you 6 months. Well, you don't know anything about that. So you've got to be careful about your network and who you're associated with as well. So I really, really am embroiled in this personal goals in 5 years. And it was bizarre. That was in 2013. 2014, I set up my own business, Saviour Associates. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I got some opportunities to work for LKL as a recruitment, covering Scotland. That was the best experience I could have paid for, because I then learned from all of the bad clients, the shocking things that you see that goes on in recruitment and employment, and whether it be the staff or the employer. I think there's a lot to learn on both sides. That I set up looking at staff management, motivation, how to be the employer of choice. I went into leadership and resilience and set up a program for the young farmers, cultivating leaders, which I have to say is one of the proudest accomplishments I've got, the cultivating leaders, seeing these young people. And basically it's a program that I wish someone had said to Heather when she was 25. There's a lot of things I wish people had said to Heather, maybe I wouldn't have listened. But it's a program, it's about, the day one is who are you, where are you, what do you want to be, what kind of person are you, how do you behave, how are you seen, how can you be seen, drivers and goals. Then it's looking at succession, planning for your future. What do you need to do? How do you have difficult conversations? We do a bit on business planning, looking at accounts, managing business. We look at, what else do we do? There's a whole heap. We get farmers coming in, and we go and see farmers that have been entrepreneurial, that have done diversification, that have managed family businesses, that have also had some pretty shocking experiences and how they've grown. And it is brilliant to see how these programs have grown on. And that's one thing I really put into anyone. It's really, really easy when we see, people on these boards, on committees that are speaking at conferences, whatever. We just see the iceberg at the top. We see the success and it all. It's all right for them. But what I guess we don't see is any successful business, man, woman, child, organisation, is the disappointments that people have had. And a lot of entrepreneurs say, you have never succeeded unless you've failed at least 4 times. Because if you haven't had failure, you've never tried hard enough. And I think in Scotland in particular, we've got this real pride thing. We maybe don't try enough because what will people think if we don't get it right? But actually, what if we do? And I think in many, many times, we ourselves are the biggest handbrake to our future and our success. Afraid of what if we fail, but actually what if you don't? And if and it will be disappointment, it will be persistent, it will be hard work, and it will be taking huge risks. Late nights, I'm not a night person, so I'd actually rather go to bed, give up, go to bed at 8 or 9 and knock myself out with a scoop of Benylin so I wasn't overthinking. And then I'd get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and just smash it. Clear head, nobody else was around, no emails, no children, And it would come. And then other times when I couldn't get clarity in my head and I couldn't get my thoughts together, I'd actually go and walk the dog. Because sometimes I'm not very good at figures and numbers and business plans and things, and often it can just feel like there's a brick wall just coming at me and I just can't see and I just get a fuzzy head. So for me, when I get those absolute blockers, I go for a walk. I walk the dog, and my mind unravels everything and it just falls into place. The other thing I do, if I'm really, really stuck and I've got a mental block, I've got a couple of friends, depending what the issue is, I'll ring them up and just chat it over, and it's like, oh God, it was there all the time. You just needed to be able to unlock it. So it is struggles. Competition, that is one thing, is really, really hard. It's when you're out there and you're on your own, you're always looking at the competition, and from good to great, you need to be the best. You need to be the best in the world. You need to know your finances. You need to know what your profit is, your cost is, your margin is, and you need to love what you're doing. And if you are doing all of that, the competition will be watching you. It will take courage. It will take discipline. You will have doubts. We all have imposter syndrome, believe you me. You'll be criticised. And I tell you what, there's some nasty people out there. Some people, and I have been shocked at the lies and the stories and the tittle-tattle and the spin that some individuals and organisations do to others. I just don't get it. And actually, I do think it comes around and bites them up the arse. And you just have to rise above it. And if you are true and consistent and measured, and for someone like me that's quite gobby and outspoken, and I do like a drink, and I do sometimes get up to a bit of fun and mischief, and maybe just, always just this, if there's some fun to be had, I'm going to be in among it. But that actually is now part of my character. And with one organisation I used to work with, they used to absolutely trying to box me down and control me. And now I realise, by being straight talking, being punchy, being telling things as it is, and not be afraid to say the things that maybe some people are thinking but not saying, is actually what has given me my client base and my marketability. So, if there's criticism, take it on the chin. If it's valid, fair enough. If it's just jealousy, bin it. Personal failures, we all have them for many, many reasons, but grow from them, learn from them. Adversity, rejections, we don't get everything we want. And sometimes, to be honest, the Scottish Dairy Hub, my God, I'm so grateful. Stuart and the team are doing a wonderful job. I'd have just exploded the way it all changed out. And it has just given me that opportunity to go on and do more and do different things. 2016, again, I was just getting in a bit of a box, and I thought, right, succession, family succession was becoming a bigger issue. It's holding mental health back. It's holding a lot of investment. It's holding so many organisations back, not just farming, vets, accountant, land agency, NHS. We're all difficult, we're afraid of having these conversations. Till 2016, I knew I had a lot of things going on personally and stuff, and I thought, right, I took myself off to Australia for a month, which everyone said, well, not everyone can do that. Actually, if you really want to, you can. It's amazing how your family get by. I took a month off. It was the best thing I ever did. And it gave me the confidence, the courage to write a pack. I am no writer, but I know I'm an author. And I'm really, really proud that these packs are all over the world now, and the influence and difference it's made on families. So I encourage you to look for opportunities for self-discovery. When shit happens, and a lot of people say, and it was a great saying in Australia, change won't happen till the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And I know that's definitely been the case for me. And often when we've had the greatest hardship, devastation, disappointment, it's amazing when we look back and think, actually, I learned a lot about myself. It gave us other opportunities for other things. Keep positive. Even on a really shitty day, there is something to be grateful for. And, even if it's just you got your cup of tea, I couldn't believe you packed all your gin and you enjoyed a cup of coffee. Where's the gin? Keep positive. You've got loved ones, people are well and healthy. You've got a house, you've got warmth, you've got food. It might be the small things. And with a lot of my clients now, stress is becoming a massive thing, and anxiety and worry. And I get a lot of my clients to have a little book And it sounds really simple. On one page, what has gone wrong? What has worried you? What stressed you out? And on the other page, what has gone well? And I encourage people to try and find at least 3 things. And I know my ex, he would struggle to find one. But I said, well, there must be something, but if you start getting into a way of looking for 3 positive things, then go to 5. And then the next day, every day, write things down, what's gone well, what hasn't. And because often we think we haven't achieved anything because it's like the Forth Road Bridge, there's always something needing done. But when you look back in that book, you suddenly realise, my word, all the things you've done. And take care of yourself. When you join a plane, remember going to plane, the first thing to say is put your own oxygen mask on before your family or your children. You can never be your best self if you are not well and looking after yourself. So take time out. And that's one thing COVID has definitely made a massive difference for me. I used to be on the road all the time, and I used to think success was being really, really busy. But it's funny doing my year end, yes, I made a lot more money in those days, but I didn't actually have an awful lot left at the end because I lived up to my means and reinvested in things. But what I've really, really enjoyed about COVID is time to go walk, to go cycling, to go swimming. Really, really enjoy it. So making time for yourself is absolutely key. Because, in reality, we've got Wonder Woman, but sometimes behind the smokes and mirrors, it doesn't always feel like that. But my tips for resilience and to be your best is step away from the emails, step away from social media. Sometimes you need to say no, don't be a busy fool, don't let everyone delegate their crap onto you, be assertive, work smarter, not harder. There's a lot to be said for these 4-day weeks. And I know some people say, for God's sake, how are you going to do it? But I tell you what, when you're going to have 3 days off and you're going to enjoy it, you come back refreshed, whether you've just been for a conference, you've been on a training and motivating, on a retreat, a wedding, you come back energized, you've spoken to people, you've switched off, you've realized also that other people have shit days as well. It's not just you. And sometimes having a day where someone else, oh my God, my world's not that bad. Leave work at work. A lot of us in agriculture, we don't have a commute, which we're really grateful for. But also we don't have a way of leaving the stress. And I know working in farming, there's a lot of power, a lot of stress, there's a lot of shit. And it comes in the door like a black cloud, and you give it to your children, to your partners, to your family. So what I try and get a lot of my clients and farmers to do now is have 10 minutes, if they haven't got an office, sit in the pickup, go wherever, sit in there, write down what you've got to do, all the emails, all the stuff you didn't do, all the jobs you've got to delegate, all that stuff, write it down, send the text, send the emails there and then switch your phone off and be present when you come in the door. And everyone, we are so glued to these bloody phones. But I tell you what, if you do that even 1 or 2 nights a week, your whole family will notice it and they will really start to see a difference. And put an out of office on your phone. I must change mine actually because I'm still on holiday. Forget about perfection. Sometimes good enough is good enough. Don't be a martyr. Ease off the adrenaline. Some of us are busy, and that's successful, but actually, is it? Think about your retirement. What are you doing it for? We only live once, and time is going really, really quick. So that is another thing, how much money are you going to need? Where do you want to be? Start now. Don't leave that too late. Make them wait and set your own rules. This is your life. But really, really key, surround yourself with people who bring out the best in you, not the stress in you. Bin the drains. People that drag you down, hold you back, which is really, really difficult if they're family, and lift themselves up with people that motivate you, encourage you, challenge you, that are aspiring you, that you want to be. But I did have one lady that said, after one of your workshops, Heather, I went home and I realised my husband was a drain. I thought, oh, shit, what's happened? And she said, I've got him onto social media. And she says, me and my son, we really love grazing and doing things with sheep, and they just used to negative anything we came to. But we've got him on these grazing platforms, and he goes and checks in after supper, and all of a sudden, because Bill, Fred or Johnny or Frida or Martha has said it, it's something like, oh, we need to do this. This is a really good idea. So, sometimes it's use it smartly. People can change and mellow. So think about brand you. What is your image? What is your mission? What is your values? What is your vision? Mine is really looking after the special people around me, taking nothing for granted, and to be the best I can be, and to kick ass and motivate and encourage others and enable positive change. So, ladies, gentlemen, has anyone told you today just how awesome you are? Because you are, and you can do anything you put your mind to. Don't be afraid of failure. Just find a way, deal with it, write it down. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond and react to what happens to you. So I think I should possibly stop for a breather there, Mary, and just see if anything is happening, because I could carry on.
That was great, Heather. Thank you. I'll let you grab a quick drink there. But so much to think about, and so much food for thought, and good questions that I think we can all go away and ask ourselves actually about our own situation. And taking that step back and having a look at where we are and where we want to get to. We have had a couple of questions come in, which I'll put to you to begin with. And if there's anybody else sitting with a question, then feel free to type away as we go through these couple. The first one would be, any tips for overcoming those people who say it won't work? Why are you doing that? What, or even just working with those people and getting them onto your side and onto your vision.
I think I see that a lot when I work with succession within farming families, that maybe there's a new generation wanting to come, and it's not always the younger ones that's pushing for change. Sometimes it's the older ones and the younger ones that say it won't happen. I think we all learn differently. Some people need facts, figures, they need evidence. Some people need to be able to see it, to touch it, to believe it, to be shown it. So just because it's in your mind, are you communicating and expressing what you're looking to do? So maybe you need to take them there, take them to go and see a business that's doing what you want to do. Maybe you need to just actually say, well, do you know what? I'm going to try it on my own in a small scale, because I've seen a number of people do that. Well, I'm just going to, I believe in it so much, I'm going to put my neck on the line. I'm going to put some funding in it and actually go off and do it. For the people, you maybe need to go away and work in that field for a little bit to really get the network for your family members to believe you. But, just bloody show them. If you really, that's kind of in my network. And my dad, I was always brought up that, well, you're not good enough. What are you doing that for? And if I wanted to borrow the car or something, I had to beg and I had to plead, and it just made me feel shit. So I actually made sure I worked, bought my own car so I could bugger off when I wanted. And he was saying, what about us? I said, well, it's my money. I can go where I want. So sometimes you have to be careful that you don't be a beast, because, it's amazing what people can achieve if they push themselves and apply themselves. But you also have to respect where the caution is coming from, because some of it might be quite genuine, and and make sure you're not just being bullish and charging on. So it's about asking open those questions. Why do you believe that is the case? Where are you thinking that I can't do this? What is your experience of this? What advice could you do that I could get over it? Who do you think we should go and speak to? What would it take to convince you? So engage in some more open conversation rather than just seeing the negative. Or also, if you really, really believe it, get enough people behind you, evidence and stuff, and take them on board.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I think it's a good point there at the end, that sometimes you might initially see it as criticism, but actually it might be, somebody who's trying to help you towards your goal. So that's a great one. Another one we've got then is, did you have any mentors or people you looked up to during your career?
Oh, I still do, and I'm still learning. I'm still at the beginning, on the bottom rung of my ladder. Definitely. Oh God, I'm trying to think. Some of my employees have been the most great inspiration for me. Definitely, I've had employers that have nurtured, grown, kicked my ass, who have encouraged me to do things I would never have dreamt I'd be capable of achieving. Likewise, I've had employers that have had me in tears and wondering whether my life was even worth continuing. The way they made you feel was disgraceful. So definitely, I always went to work for someone that I aspired to be. Problem tended to be when they left and their new replacement came in, we tended to clash a little bit. But that gave me another opportunity to move on. So yes, Young Farmers, there was a key lady in Young Farmers. I became a county chairman, and I really, my public speaking, I get a little bit carried away and I can have colourful language. And when we're in competitions, I used to come on lead. And how would I let it? That you'd have a posture and a position and everything. So even now, when I'm in a really tricky situation where I'm stressed or I really want something, I will sort of think. Kim Stafford was a great lady. You and I, she mentored and coached me with facilitation and everything. I think, what would Kim say? And, you know, all these other people, I think, how would they handle this? And sometimes I've been in some really tricky ones. And I think, right, if I was in my cultivating leaders with these young farmers and they'd said this problem to me, what would I do? And would I be proud of how I'd handled it in front of them? So sometimes accountability as well as role models actually really gives you the kick up the arse as well.
Excellent. There's another one that just came through here, and it's from somebody who says, I am totally stuck. I left agriculture over 2 years ago and want to get back into it, but I would also like to be happier and more fulfilled than when I left. I don't really have many connections either. Any suggestions on where to start?
Start with you. What I tend to do is I get a sheet of paper. Hang on, I'll just do it now. And have a triangle. So one starts with self, me. One is work, career. And one is home and family. Okay, so you've got a triangle like that. And what I want you to do is think on all of these triangles, where are you currently on a 1 to 10 in how you feel? So with the me, the self, that's your personal, your time for yourself, your mental health, your well-being, confidence, everything like that. Where are you on a 1 to 10? And where are you with your work and career? And where are you with your home and family? And be really, really honest with that. So, you know, you might be myself, and I'm fairly lacking in confidence. So it might be 2, work, career. I've got a job, but I'm not really happy in it. So I'm 4. Home and family, I don't know, might be a 6, that might be okay. So you draw your lines together, and that's your sort of triangle there. And then where do you aspire to be? And some people say, oh, Heather, you've got to be 10 out of 10. Personally, I think that's rubbish. And I think it's really hard to maintain. And, you know, it's a lot of waffle if folks say that they're all living that. But, you know, it depends, maybe it is. But, you know, where do you want to be yourself, your personal ability? So it might be you want to just get to a 6. Your work and career, we're going to go into farming. We're not sure what we do, but we think that's a big thing. So we need that maybe to be a 7. But I really want to maintain home and family, so that's an 8. So suddenly your triangle is looking like that. And then I want you to think about 3 things in each of those areas that would make that difference. For the self, the me, the I, what 3 things will make that difference from a 6 to a 2? For the work and career, what do you need to be doing? What hours do you need to be working? Where would you be living? What would you be traveling? Do you like meeting people? Do you like tasks? Do you like roles? Do you like doing practical, physical, things like that? What do you actually need? Do you like working with animals? Do you like working with machinery? And then the family and the home, you know, are you married? Are you not? Do you have children? Do you not? Have you got a social life? And COVID has just buggered everything up, to be honest. But, you know, it's a great opportunity still, though, to reflect, because none of us are missing out. Everybody's having a shit time. And some folk are just absolutely loving this isolation. And for some people, it has been hell. And, you know, me, I just like cuddling, you know, I'm been cuddling lots. So think about what those 3 things are, and then set yourself a challenge. And once you start really picturing, because you've got to be careful of wishing for something, then it becomes an absolute nightmare, because I never thought about the long hours, or I never thought about the physical, or I never thought about the people. And there are so many jobs in agriculture. You know, agriculture is just bubbling away with opportunities. And it is a very, very exciting business to be in going forward. And I think the best thing to do is vision, communication, collaboration. Think what you really, really want, then who do you communicate it to? Start with, you've got Mary here. It's all about networks. And, and if you don't get the right answer with the first door, try another door. Get a CV, knock on doors. The amount of jobs I have not had, but actually I've always learned from the experience. Interview the interviewer as well as yourself. Go and see the jobs. When I was looking for work, we used to have the dairy event at the time. And I used to go walking around all the stands, and I used to think who looked like what I wanted to be with. And there was, because most people are pretty employable, believe it or not. And a lot of jobs, people are desperate to employ people, but would that make you happy? Are they wearing the branding that you could do? Are they talking? Are they acting like your kind of people? If not, stay well away. Just because it's a job, don't go near. Sometimes you better just holding off a little bit. Go and do some work experience. That's another time when I've been sort of a little bit fed up because I've had a lot of isolated jobs. I would go and have a work experience day with a nutritionist, with a vet, with a bank manager. We'd go around the farms and chat and things and just see, actually, what do you want to be doing? Because you have one life, enjoy it. And, you spend too much time at work not to be happy. But also you need to think about the money. Nobody is charity. How much do you want to be earning and what job is going to give you that? So you might need to do a bit more training. You might need to do a bit more upskilling as well. That's quite a long answer, Mary. Sorry.
Not at all. No, it's a fantastic answer. And having done the triangle activity with you previously, Heather, I can recommend that one. And making you think about your situation in a way you've probably not looked at it.
Yeah, because it's not just about work, is it? It's not just about home. You have to be happy in here. Definitely.
Okay, I'm going to put one more question to you, and unless any others come in while we're doing that, you might be free for the evening, Heather. But the final one is, obviously you've stepped up to a lot of opportunities through your time, Nuffield Scholarship, and you're involved in the Highland Show and RAS, your Women in Agriculture Scotland, etc. Did you find a lot of getting the confidence to go for those positions was your own beliefs, or did you find that was there any barriers you found to go into those, or a lot of, once you had the confidence in yourself, is that really the main step that took you to all those positions?
No, that's a valid question, Mary. I think the biggest doubter is always yourself. And Highland Show, I used to work at the Highland Show in 1999. I worked in the dungeons, in the cellar at the Royal Highland Education Trust. I was family liaison officer. So for me to be a director in the big house, I do find absolutely brilliant. And I'm so chuffed. The Highland Show has been a massive, massive part. And randomly, it was on one of the slides there when I was launching the succession pack, Alan Laidlaw and a couple of guys did mention, have you ever thought a bit about director? And I thought, well, I'm Cumbrian, I'm not even though I've lived and worked in Scotland for over 20 years now. I was thinking, oh, they didn't let a Cumbrian in, and what could I add? And then I thought, well, just fairly recently moved to Dumfries and Galloway. You've got to get all the signatures. And I was like, oh, this is like hard work. And who's gonna vouch for me? And it was a really snowy day just before Christmas. And I thought, right, everyone's going to be home. So I battled the roads and just landed on people's doors, sent them a text. Would you be prepared to give me 10 minutes? And I was blown away and really, really lucky to get in. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel completely out of my depth. It's very steeped in tradition, and there's a lot of legacy and everything with it as well. And there's a lot of responsibility with the role. And it is interesting, such a large directorship, working with all the personalities and everything, but actually it brings a lot into it, and I'm learning so much all the time. And I'm really delighted to be part of Showcase next week. Gutted we're not getting the proper show, but at least we're doing something, and we're learning new skills, which hopefully will take us forward. So I would encourage anyone to have a go. It is daunting. And I find there's people that really want to make you succeed and will open doors and get you on things, and there's other people that sort of put you down. Oh, you don't want to do that, because actually they're maybe wanting to go. So definitely get involved, but be prepared. You know, it's actually, you've got to also think, how much time can you give? Because most of this is voluntary, and I think that's where a lot of organisations that are wanting directors and board members, you know, often because of the time commitment, we're maybe getting people who are a little bit, you know, at the further end of their careers because they've got a bit more time and someone else is doing their day job. And I do think to really get valid and really good directors, we may need to look at remunerations, and that's a tricky one for a lot of organisations. So you need to be honest with yourself. How much time can you give voluntary, and or do you need to be looking at the positions that are paid, and push for them? And don't be afraid of being the straight talker, because a lot of the time that's what people are really looking for. But you need to know your subject. Nobody wants someone that's just blowing hot air for the sake of hot air. But you know, they start with the young farmers. You know, start with schools, start with committees, and you know, and be a confident, consistent voice, I think, and don't be put off. There's some amazing women out there doing some fantastic jobs now. Have got a great deal to offer, and that brings completely different dynamics into a board. We tend to think, you know, a lot of different things that, you know, the male genders maybe overlook. And I think there's really a place for diversity and everything within these boards. So wherever you're male or female, young, old, fat, thin, black, white, whatever, I think we need everybody and a real mix.
Yeah, no, I think it's an excellent point. We've seen that there in the Crofting Commission were advertising for board members not that long ago, and they were crying out for women because they had, like you say, a kind of an older generation and an older male-dominated board, and you know the board wasn't balanced almost because they didn't have the views from those people who were trying to, you know, croft and juggle childcare. So I think it's a very valid point that your opinions are welcome in these committees, and have the confidence in yourself that you've got something valid to take to them. Certainly.
Yeah, well said, Mary.
But no, thank you very much indeed, Heather, for what has been a really, you hit the nail on the head. The title was Motivate and Inspire, and I think you are certainly going to have motivated everybody tonight. I know certainly there's a lot of notes I've taken down here, and some great kind of phrases and pointers that we can certainly all take away. Just before I summarise those points, just a very small matter of housekeeping for those attendees here this evening. Tomorrow you will receive an email from FAS Webinars, and that email will contain a link to a quick feedback survey, and it would be much appreciated if you could complete that survey. It won't take you long, but we really do pay very close attention to that feedback. So it's your chance to be brutal and honest and tell us what you like, where we could do better. Go for it, please. We do we do read it, so please, if as many of you as possible would take the time to fill that in, that would be much appreciated. But just to round off, before we give our final thanks to Heather, I will just summarise what I take away as some of the key take-home messages tonight, but I hope all of you have also got some to take away. So first of all, we should remember about our vision, our dream, our goals and our ambitions. And when we come up with those, I would say in a normal meeting, it might be on your drive home, you'd think of them, but you're probably already at home. But if you come up with those at some point and write them down, it definitely, I think, you know, we can all say, we hear many people when they have a to-do list at work, it's more likely to get done. It's exactly the same thing. If you write it down, you commit to it. So definitely get those written down. Ask yourself, where are you now? Where do you want to be, and how are you going to get there? That one might take a bit of thinking, but it's a good one to think about. And again, the triangle there that we discussed near the end is a great way to do that, to think of what aspects of your life do you need to improve or want to improve most. Don't be afraid of failure. I think this is a big thing, and something like, we just won't bother doing that because, we know we might make a wee fool of ourselves, or it might go wrong. But actually, what might you gain from taking that opportunity if you don't fail and you make it through? and keep positive as well, and always find something to be grateful for. And I think you all highlighted that with the question at the start there, whether it was something of getting your washing out, or, whether it was some huge diversification project, it doesn't matter where it is on the scale. The point is there's always something. So even if you think the world's crumbling down around you and there's nothing, you might as well just give up. Always try and find that one thing, because I'm sure in amongst the bad day, there will be something in there somewhere. So hopefully that's a summary of only a few of the excellent points and ideas that Heather gave us to go away with. And I can already see the messages of thanks coming into the chat. So I'm delighted to see that so many of you have found it, like myself, very motivating and inspiring. So on that note, I'll just thank Heather again for her time this evening, and for giving an open and honest account and giving us all lots to think about. And I'll thank all of you from all corners of Scotland for joining us, and wish you a good evening.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm happy to take any emails or questions if anybody does want to have a chat afterwards.
That's great. Thank you, Heather. Bye-bye.
Bye.